everyone that's just joining us, this is Kat Reyes with Worldwide Beer Fest, and I'm here with Dylan VanDetta. He is the founder and brewmaster of Labyrinth Forge, which opened in Portland pretty recently, right?
Yeah, we just opened in June.
That's really exciting.
Just completed our first full week last week.
Amazing. Can you tell us about your journey as a home brewer and what inspired you to open Labyrinth Forge in the former space of Hair of the Dog Brewery?
Yeah, of course. So I started home brewing in 2012. The whole idea was to open a tasting room and a brewery. Had no idea at that time who Hair of the Dog was. I figured it was something that I wanted to change careers, and I wanted to do something fun with my life as opposed to try to make money all the time and not do fun things for it. I just got some random equipment off of Craigslist and joined the Oregon Brew Crew and started brewing some recipes. Started brewing stouts, beers that I like to drink, and then as I learned from the Oregon Brew Crew, which is primarily an education-based organization, I think I progressed pretty rapidly. Wasn't able to brew a lot. Even home brewing is kind of expensive. So the equipment, it's really more about kind of figuring out the processes and stuff. So it started way back then, and it's been a long journey, but we're here.
Absolutely. What type of beers can visitors expect to find at Labyrinth Forge?
That's a great question. We brew, I like to say I brew things that I like. So, we've got a lot of different styles on draft. We have 12 taps right now, and there's 3 Kolsch's, which is interesting, but we have two of those are guest taps. We have a guest tap from Monteville Brewworks at the moment. It's a collaboration with the Green Dragon Brewers who live here now. But it's called Tall Cool One. It was intended to be a Kolsch, but it's a really hoppy Kolsch. We actually dry hopped it with Citra, and so it came out pretty. I wouldn't say bitter, but a lot of hop character for a Kolsch. So we're really just calling it a summer ale. It is available for our Kolsch service. If you want to come to the bar and try that, you're welcome to. But otherwise, we have a pretty good selection, including a CDA, Pacific Northwest IPA, a hazy IPA. We have a Schwartz beer. We have Imperial Stout, a regular American Stout. We have a sour, which is a guest tap from Gateway Brewing, and then the 3 Kolsch's, obviously. And I'm forgetting another one, but there's a lot of different beers on draft.
It's wonderful to offer all of that variety. I know for myself, I love to order taster tray to order. I'm not a beer judge, but it definitely helps me learn about the beer every time I taste an example of the style. So I'm always looking to do that.
Good. Yeah, it's a good opportunity. We do offer taster trays here, so people usually do 6 at a time, so get the whole menu.
Yeah, that's what I recommend too. And you briefly mentioned Michael Cora. I know both him and you were Green Dragon Brewers. Can you talk about what that group has, how it's helped you to become a brewer?
Yeah, of course. When I was part of the Oregon Brew Crew, I actually brewed for about a year and then joined as treasurer. So I got on the board. I tried to get into as many things as I possibly could in the brewing world so I can learn. And then I was entering competitions. I became a beer judge certified, and then recognized. So I was able to do that. And one of the competitions I entered was Heart of Cascadia. So the Oregon Brew Crew had this festival of beers for the Pacific Northwest, specifically celebrating Cascadian Dark Ales and Northwest Reds. And they called it the Heart of Cascadia. And so I entered that competition. I came in second place with my CDA, which is what we have on draft right now. And the prize for that was a brew day with the Green Dragon Brewers. So the Green Dragon Brewers started as a kind of offshoot of the Oregon Brew Crew. They started brewing commercially at Rogue East Side, which at the time was the Green Dragon. They were called the Green Dragon Brewers. I think at that time they were called the Green Dragon Brew Crew. Yeah, so at that time, I didn't know too many of the members, but did know a few of them. But Michael had been one of them. Michael Cora, once he founded Montevilla Brew Works, he no longer had the time to do the Green Dragon Brewers anymore. So he moved on to do that full time. But yeah, the great thing about the Green Dragon Brewers is it is quasi-commercial. I would say, I keep saying quasi-commercial, but it's actually a real commercial brewery. It's just under the license of another brewery. So the brewers are volunteers. They get to brew whatever they want. They choose the ingredients that they want, the recipes that they want, and then they put them on draft at the pub that they're brewing at. So we did that I joined that crew. I did the guest brew there in 2015, I think it was. And then they invited me to become a member in 2016. So early, I think April 2016, I joined the Green Dragon Brewers, and I learned how to brew from them on a different level. That I was just self-guided and learning what I could from the Oregon Brew Crew prior to that. But that was all homebrew. It's a different game when you get into commercial brewing. You have to kind of really consider what your costs are, what the consumers who are going to be drinking your beer are looking for. And so I got that experience there, and a little bit more of the paperwork as well. So, seeing behind the scenes of what we had to track, whether it's the recipes that we were writing, we had to have a place to put those so we could keep track of them over time. The naming, we actually counted all the pints that we brewed or served, and all the batches of beer that we brewed. I think we ended up at about 498 or 490 batches of beer. They would release a new beer every Wednesday for 10 years. So yeah, there's so much there, and they have 6 brewers. And they're all various levels of brewing experience. Some actually have gone to the Siebel Institute. Others had just been home brewing for 20 or 30 years, like Rich Hawthorne, for example. So lots and lots of brewing experience, and you're getting feedback on the batches of beer that you're making. So that was really, really helpful in perfecting some of the recipes. Matter of fact, all of the recipes that I brew right now were perfected on that system.
Yeah, it seems like, I know that Montevilla Brew Works is still in business, doing well, and he was being involved in the Green Dragon. It seems like it's helped you a lot in your career. It's not just learning the ropes, but being able to refine those recipes by repeatedly getting to fine tune every week. Yeah,
for sure. And also there was some respect, as a home brewer, you get respect through competitions and winning awards in those competitions, but it's mostly limited to the homebrew community. Once you start going into the commercial side of things, you can still enter competitions and you get recognition that way, but you get a little bit more respect from homebrewers, but also from commercial brewers. So we would do the Willamette Week Pro-Am every year. As a matter of fact, the last year they had it before COVID, we were the pro side. Up to that point, we had always been the AM side. So it was really kind of fun to to be recognized as pro brewers finally.
Do you think that event will come back?
I hope so. That's a great event. Yeah, the pairing up of an amateur brewer with a commercial brewer and bringing something to a festival where everybody can try it. It was a great experience as both an amateur and a professional brewer. So
yeah. So it hasn't been held in a few years then, huh?
No, since COVID. I don't think they held it since then. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the beer industry, the festival industry has been kind of impacted by the same market forces that make it a challenge.
For sure.
How have you approached designing the tap room and creating an atmosphere that reflects the spirit of the Labyrinth Forge?
Great question. So as you said, we are here at the Hair of the Dog location. He retired last year and closed up shop and just kind of left the place vacant for the last year. When we took over, we did a deep clean of the restaurant and the tap room. We bought his furniture and his kitchen equipment, and then we rebranded it. So essentially bringing our colors into it, refreshing the wood surfaces. So we did a good sanding and refinishing of the picnic tables and the tables in the tasting room. We like the open feel of the tasting room here, so it allows people to really kind of mingle and spend some time with their friends and family. The wood really goes well with our color green, so people have commented many times actually now that it's very welcoming. So I'm kind of proud of that people enjoy coming here and having a pint or sharing like ciders. Even we have ciders and seltzer waters and having a meal even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was green is a soothing color. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely one of my favorite colors. And you have maze related decor and a labyrinth related games.
Oh yes.
As well as the
yeah, we have a giant mural with the hop tar. This is the hop tar right here. He's a minotaur in the shape of a hop, and that's
Is he lost? Is he lost in a mythical hop field?
He probably. Our tagline is "Get lost with your beer."
Oh, I see.
We have the main wall in the tasting room has got a giant hop tar on it and a 5-circuit labyrinth around it. Besides that, we have some tapestries on the back wall that has a Cretan labyrinth and a replica of a coin from Knossos, Greece, where Knossos, Crete. It's Crete. It's an island in the Mediterranean near Italy, where the labyrinth was originally, at least the myth of the labyrinth was originally formed. So so we've got that in there. We've got some mazes that I've hand drawn myself that are available for patrons to kind of try out themselves. We have some computer generated ones. We have some board games. We have some European board games, if you're familiar with those. Usually lots of little pieces and parts to those, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons. So we've got some really good games for people to try, and they've been a hit.
Great. And food-wise, though, what can people expect when they come to your tap room?
Fantastic question. So we are open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. most days. Friday and Saturday we're open till 10, and Sunday open till 8. Unless there's a bunch of people here, we'll stay open later. But in the mornings, we have a food partner called Sweet Lorraine's, and they are a Jewish dairy kitchen. They make latkes and black and white cookies and knishes. They do some they fresh bake challah bread here. It's really, really good food. So if you're in the area, I think their hours are now Thursday through Sunday. So they prep on Wednesday, and then they do breakfast and brunch on Thursday through Sunday. And they usually do a slightly different menu for brunch on the weekends. It's really good. It's really good. In the evenings,
great.
Yeah, in the evenings, starting around 3 o'clock, we have La Tijuana. It's a Mexican restaurant. They have several locations in Portland. This is their second restaurant location, and their Mexican food is amazing. So I highly recommend it.
I was definitely checking out those pictures. It looks pretty tasty.
It is. It's very fresh. They make their own salsa. They make their own chips right here. They do prep elsewhere, so that Sweet Lorraine's has the kitchen to prep here, but they do everything fresh. So it's really, really good.
It must smell really good in your tap room with the challah bread and the beer brewing.
Oh yes, it does. Absolutely. Once we start brewing beer again, it'll smell even better.
Yeah.
We do also have a coffee bar that we partnered with Trailhead Coffee Roasters. They roast their coffee about maybe a mile away, and they bring over their fresh coffee. We grind it here, make pour overs and drip coffee currently with iced coffee and iced tea. Once we get some more construction done, we'll install the espresso machine. We'll have lattes and cappuccinos as well. So it's going to be
great.
It's going to be great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
That's awesome. Yes, I know that. Since the pandemic, things have changed a little bit in Portland, but some people say they have started to see some changes and more foot traffic. What's your impression about kind of what you see in Portland?
It's a great question. So crime is still a little higher than I'd like. It's not dangerous, in my opinion. There's a lot of people on the street. We do get a lot of foot traffic right in our neighborhood. This is the Central East Side Industrial District. So there's right across the street is Lipman. We've got a new wine bar that just opened next door. It's called Grape Ape. And then Cargo has been there for, 13 to 20 years. I'm not sure how long. But we're right on the bike path. People walk across the bridge from downtown Portland to come over here. We're right next to the Morrison Bridge. So there's lots of access. Walking access, we've got the bike path that goes around downtown on the waterfront that's right here. So it's, I don't feel like it's dangerous at all. I've been here at all hours for the last few months, and, there's certainly crime, but it's not like you hear on the news. It's, one guy came in and he was complaining about how high the crime rate was, and he was from Washington and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he sat at the bar for 3 hours and drank some beers and had a great time. But yeah, it was interesting how he was complaining about the crime that was not happening here.
That's kind of ironic.
Yeah, it was kind of ironic. Yeah.
Well, I know that, the pandemic has made things more challenging, but you were already prepared. I think you were really well prepared in big part due to your size.
Yeah, that was one of the benefits. I started the brewery in 2019 from my house, so I didn't have a lot of overhead. I think I was paying $1 a year for rent of a shed that I was operating out of. But I was contract brewing most of my beer, so I was, even though I had a half barrel brew house at the shed, most of my beer was brewed at Gateway Brewing. He's got a 5-barrel brew house with 6 fermenters in his garage. So he's got 25 years of experience brewing beer. He's a great guy, great family man, and I loved the fact that he would replicate my recipes just like I asked him to. So I would try to get there for every brew day. It's a little more difficult nowadays, but the size certainly helped. I didn't have all that overhead of a retail space. So once the shutdown happened in 2020, I was able to start home deliveries immediately. Just set up a website, actually started with a Google form and put that on my website. And people would place orders. Actually, one of my busiest months was, we closed in March, so April was my busiest month because everybody was ready to drink beer and there was no place to do it.
Absolutely. I remember, I agree. Joel Schugle makes really good beers for Joel Schugle of Gateway. And I ordered from him a few times and you as well. And so looking forward, are you going to be brewing when do you plan to be brewing in that space?
That's a great question. So we have been kind of focused on the front of house and getting the business up and running. So the next step is to work on the back of the house. We've got a walk-in cooler that we're building, our second walk-in cooler. The brew house itself, which is right here behind me, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's in pieces and parts right now. It needs a deep clean and needs to be reassembled. Not a lot of work there. It's just we need to prepare and get that going. So I'm hoping to start brewing here at either the end of July or early August. Probably at this point, early August. We'll get Alan Sprinson here from Hair of the Dog to show us the ropes and do a collaboration, and then we'll start testing out our recipes to see how close we can get them on the system. it's a very different brew house than what we have been brewing on over the last few years. So it will be a challenge to get them to taste the same. But I'm
it's a matter of calibration, right?
Yeah, calibration.
It sounds like
It's process. It's process. So yeah, I mean the brew house here is a little bit smaller than Gateway's system, although we have bigger fermenters. So it's we have to modify the recipes so that we can brew higher gravity and then dilute to the beer in the fermenter, which is a common practice. It's just we have to run a few tests to make sure that we're getting the numbers that we want to get.
I understand. That sounds exciting and like a lot of work too.
Yeah, it's very challenging.
Are you able to have some support in addition to Alan, who's I guess mostly retired now? Is there anyone else? You could plan to get an assistant brewer or kind of someone to you can mentor? Absolutely.
So, well, we're going to start with Alan and Joel Sheely from Gateway. He's going to come in and help us align the system, and since he's been brewing our beers, he can really help, nail the beers down here. Then I expect to hire an assistant brewer almost immediately to take over the reins. So I'm busy running a business that has a lot of moving parts at the moment. So brewing, although I'd love to do it all the time, I won't be able to. So having someone who can dedicate their focus to making the best beer possible will help the business in the best possible way. So that's the plan. That is the plan.
Sure. As a figurehead, you once you take on something like that, there's so many parts that delegation is really important, and but you're the main guy that's making everything happen, and you're the reason everyone's there. So I look forward to coming down and visiting your tap room as soon as I'm able to.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone else to come on down to
please,
Portland.
Come on down. Come on down.
Go see Dylan, try his beer. He's got a lot of experience brewing beers. There's some solid food there, and we have full service, and you guys are doing trivia now too.
Yeah, so tonight actually trivia will be starting probably a couple hours now. Every Tuesday night we got trivia, and it's last week it was I think it was Labyrinth themed, because it was the first week. This week it's Breweries of Oregon. So if you're in town tonight, you're probably not going to get this before then, but come in and visit us anyway, because it's a lot of fun. Daniel does a great job.
Sure. It looks pretty lively.
Yes.
Yes. Go see Dylan at Labyrinth Forge. Your website, Dylan, for everyone?
It's labyrinthforge.com. Yep, labyrinthforge.com. We've got our tap list up there. Actually, I need to update that, but it's up there. And 61 Southeast Yamhill Street. If you're not familiar with where the old Hair of the Dog was, that's where we're at now. So yeah, check us out.
Yeah, there's good beer in Portland, and Dylan, you've been learning a lot about it. So thank you so much for your time today and coming on the show and telling us more about Labyrinth Forge.
You're quite welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers.